Shadad, a ruler of unparalleled arrogance, stands among the three tyrants mentioned in the Quran, who defiantly opposed the truth and challenged the authority of the Almighty. This monarch not only spurned the guidance of Allah, but went so far as to proclaim himself as the supreme lord of the earth, daring to set himself as a rival to the one and only true sovereign. Consumed by his delusions of grandeur, he embarked on an audacious endeavor constructing an earthly paradise that he believed would grant him eternal glory and immortality. In his misguided ambition, he envisioned a city unlike any seen before, a dazzling metropolis adorned with gold, encrusted with precious jewels and radiating magnificence that he foolishly thought could rival the splendors of Jannah. He named this legendary city Iram, and its creation spanned generations, taking centuries to complete. Towering structures glittered with embedded gems, streets gleamed with an otherworldly brilliance, and its opulent gardens were designed to mirror the pleasures of the hereafter. However, what Shadad failed to comprehend was that no amount of wealth or power could shield him from divine retribution. The very city that was intended to be a monument to his absolute dominion instead became an eternal testament to Allah's unyielding justice. Centuries later, archaeologists uncovered remnants of this lost civilization, reaffirming the truth of the Quranic narrative. The people of whom Shadad ruled were among the mightiest of nations, blessed with extraordinary physical strength, vast wealth, and fertile lands. Towering in stature and living long lives, they enjoyed an abundance that few others could fathom. Their grand palaces and fortresses adorned the hills, and their prosperity was known far and wide, their power seemingly unmatched by any other civilization of their time. Yet, with such opulence came arrogance. Drunk on their worldly successes, the people of turned their backs on divine guidance. They placed their faith in their own strength and the wealth they had accumulated, deluding themselves into believing that they were invincible. When Allah, in His boundless mercy, sent to them the noble prophet Hadi to remind them of their Creator and call them back to the straight path, they ridiculed and dismissed him. In their ignorance they scorned him, saying, "We see you only as a fool, and we do not believe in your words." The prophet had, steadfast in his mission, responded with patience and wisdom. "O my people, I am not a fool, but rather a messenger from the Lord of all worlds. I deliver to you his message and give you sincere advice." However, their arrogance blinded them, and they remained obstinate in their disbelief, defiantly replying, "You bring us no clear proof, and we will not abandon our beliefs because of what you say. We think that one of our gods has afflicted you with madness." Despite their rejection, Prophet Hid continued his call, warning them of the inevitable consequences of their defiance. He urged them to turn away from their false gods and submit to the one true God, promising that if they repented, Allah would shower them with His blessings. "If you obey your Lord, He will grant you palaces beneath which rivers flow. Do not worship Shadad or anyone other than Allah. Follow me, for I seek no reward from you. My reward is with the one who created me." These words only fueled Shadad's fury. Enraged at the thought of someone challenging his sovereignty, he ordered that the prophet be brought before him. In his delusion, Shadad believed that his immense wealth and power rendered him untouchable. However, what he failed to grasp was that his fate had already been sealed, and the divine punishment was drawing nearer with every passing moment. When Prophet Hid stood before the tyrant, Shadad sneered at him with contempt, saying, "How dare you claim to be a prophet when I am the supreme ruler of this world? Who appointed you?" With unwavering faith, Prophet Hid spoke to him about the absolute power of Allah, the Creator of all things, and His boundless mercy toward those who submit to Him in obedience. Yet, Shadad, blinded by arrogance, dismissed his words with mockery. "I offer my people a life of comfort and pleasure. What does your Lord promise them?" The prophet firmly replied, "Allah promises an eternal paradise beneath which rivers flow, free of sorrow, old age, and death, a realm of pure bliss, adorned with beauty beyond human imagination." Shadad scoffed at these words and in his madness declared, "If your Lord promises a paradise, then I shall build one here on earth, more splendid than his." Convinced that he could rival Allah's promise, Shadad ordered the construction of a city of unprecedented. He gathered the finest architects, artisans, and craftsmen, commanding them to build a paradise that would stand as an eternal testament to his greatness. He deployed emissaries to all corners of his kingdom, demanding that they bring forth all the gold, silver, pearls, and rubies they could find. He ordered musk, amber, and saffron to be gathered to perfume his false paradise, believing that this would secure his place as a god among men. His greed plunged his kingdom into crisis. Trade collapsed, and desperation led people to desecrate tombs, looting the riches buried with the dead. Yet after centuries of toil, the city was finally completed. Its domes gleamed with rubies, its walls shimmered with the luster of gold and silver, and its rivers sparkled with pearls instead of sand. Gardens bore trees fashioned from emeralds, their golden leaves exuding the scent of musk. Exotic birds fluttered in nests crafted from precious stones, their melodies filling the air with an intoxicating symphony. With pride, Shadad summoned Prophet Had and declared, "Behold my paradise. Is it not equal to or greater than what you describe?" Moved by the blindness of his people, Prophet Had solemnly replied, "Wretched are you, for in your arrogance you defy your Lord. Do you not fear the punishment of the one who created the heavens and the earth? Have you not considered what your final fate will be?" Shadad, intoxicated by pride, dismissed the warning. "Nothing and no one can destroy this city. Its palaces rise above the mountains, firm as the very earth itself. No force can bring them down." Little did he know that death would claim him before he could ever set foot in his so-called paradise. The people of D, emboldened by their defiance, hardened their hearts against the message of their prophet. Mocking the believers, they subjected them to torment and dared to challenge divine wrath, saying, "If there is truly a punishment for us, bring it forth." Then the first signs of divine retribution appeared. Rivers dried up, lush gardens withered, and fertile lands turned into barren wastelands. The scorching sun cracked the earth, and those who once lived in excess now begged for a sip of water. Seeing their suffering, Prophet Had made one final plea. "O my people, you still have a chance to return to your Lord. I have faithfully conveyed his message to you. If you persist in your stubbornness, know that Allah will replace you with others who are better than you." Yet they remained defiant. And so the punishment descended, a furious storm unlike any in creation. A mighty wind raged for 7 nights and 8 consecutive days, uprooting the proud people of D like hollow trunks of palm trees. Shadad and his city were obliterated, his name forever etched in history as a warning for those who defy their creator. The legend of Iram, once lost to time, was rediscovered, confirming the truth of the Quran. Its ruins stand as an eternal reminder. Arrogance leads only to ruin, and power without submission to Allah is meaningless. May Allah protect us from heedlessness and guide us on the straight path. The people of D, once mighty and unchallenged, were reduced to nothingness, their grandeur erased as though they had never walked the earth. One that uprooted their towering palaces, shattered their fortified walls, and swept their bodies away as though they were weightless leaves. For 7 nights and 8 days the wind howled through their once prosperous lands. Those who had once strutted arrogantly upon the earth, boasting of their strength and invulnerability, were now scattered like debris, their lifeless forms strewn across the desolate ruins of their former civilization. Not a single soul was spared. No trace of their grand cities remained, only the silence of a land that had once been filled with arrogance and disobedience. The Quran vividly describes their fate. "So we sent upon them a screaming wind for days of misfortune, that we might make them taste the punishment of humiliation in this world. But the punishment of the hereafter is even more humiliating, and they will not be helped." Surah Fussilat 41-16. Their final moments must have been filled with terror, as they realized, far too late, that no fortification, no wealth, no army could shield them from the wrath of the Almighty. They had placed their trust in their own power. Shadad's end, a death without glory. Shadad, the self-proclaimed ruler of paradise, never set foot in the city he had spent centuries building. The very moment he prepared to enter, standing at the gates of his so-called paradise, Allah's decree descended upon him. Before he could bask in his imagined triumph, his soul was seized. He collapsed, lifeless, his ambitions crumbling with him. He had sought to rival Allah's Jannah, yet he never even enjoyed a single moment in the city he had arrogantly claimed as his own. His name, which he intended to be remembered as a symbol of eternal power, instead became a cautionary tale of absolute failure and humiliation. The city of Iram, so carefully constructed with gold and jewels, became a lost relic, buried beneath the sands of time. The lost city of Iram, a forgotten civilization. For centuries, Iram was considered a myth, a legend passed down through generations. Historians dismissed it as a fable, a tale of ancient arrogance that had no place in reality. Yet the words of the Quran remained unchanged, affirming its existence as a real city built by the people of D before they were annihilated for their defiance. In recent times, however, archaeological discoveries in the Arabian Peninsula have unveiled ruins that many believe to be remnants of Iram. The region of Uber, located in the vast Rug Khali desert, also known as the Empty Quarter, was found to contain the remains of a grand ancient settlement. Structures resembling those described in ancient texts were unearthed, pointing to the possibility that this could indeed be the lost city of Shadad. The Quran describes Iram as a city of towering pillars, unparalleled in its magnificence. Have you not considered how your Lord dealt with Iram, the city of lofty pillars, the like of which was never created in the lands? Surah Al-Fajr 89-6-8. Whether the ruins discovered in the desert are truly the lost city or not, one undeniable truth remains: civilizations that turn away from Allah's guidance and immerse themselves in arrogance and disbelief inevitably meet their downfall. A warning for all generations. The fate of Shadad and his people is not just a story of the past, it is a powerful lesson for every generation. History is filled with the ruins of civilizations that once stood at the height of power but were reduced to dust due to their arrogance and corruption. Allah warns us repeatedly in the Quran that no nation, no matter how strong, is beyond his grasp. He gives people chances, sends them messengers, and reminds them of the truth. But when they persist in rebellion, his justice prevails. And how many a city have we destroyed while it was committing wrong, so it is now fallen into ruin, and how many an abandoned well and lofty palace? Surah Al-Hajj 22:45. The destruction of the obliteration of Iram, and the downfall of Shadad serve as eternal reminders that power, wealth, and status mean nothing if they are not used in submission to Allah. Those who defy his commandments, mock his messengers, and indulge in pride will inevitably meet their reckoning, whether in this world or the next. Conclusion: the true path to everlasting success. The only true success is found in obedience to Allah. No earthly wealth, no kingdom, no amount of human might can compare to the eternal rewards of the hereafter. Those who seek power for their own arrogance, those who reject divine guidance in favor of worldly pleasures, will find themselves in the same position as Shadad, standing at the gates of their imagined paradise, only to be met with destruction. May Allah protect us from arrogance, grant us humility, and guide us to the path of righteousness. May we take heed from the stories of the past, and strive to be among those who seek the eternal pleasure of our Lord, rather than the fleeting vanities of this world. Ameen.